Now this is what I was saying. Communication amplifies. In one way or another. This is Le Monde, the most prominent French journal, on the beginning of December. The public believes less and less in a pandemic. This was exactly the same in all European countries. Why? There was alarm, but no pandemic. So increasing incredulity, at least in developing countries where the level of democracy is often extremely high and where everybody can say what he thinks or wants. I don't say it's bad, but that creates an effect of boule de neige, if I may say that in French, and the beliefs or the fears of the public can change, as we are going to see with H1N1, from one day to another. Damn it if you do, damn it if you don't. All the executives involved in doing something since 4 years on H5N1, H1N1 are in that problem. You do too much, you don't do enough. It's never good. Even if I do believe that what we did since 4 years, honestly, is very good. And then pandemic H1N1 came. Oh, what a good news, really. That was the button. If this pandemic remains not too tough, less than a normal seasonal flu, it was good news. A change from a communication point of view. It's currently mild, but we have difficulties in communication at absolutely all levels. I don't know how it is here in Taiwan, but I can tell you that in Europe, and especially the countries I know well, Belgium, France, there is Germany, there is a big problem. As Margaret Chan said in June, never has the world been so well prepared, and she also said that this was a result of the global process at the occasion of H5N1. We have been observing for the first time live the development of a pandemic. This is the first time in human history. The Commission had difficulties inside the European Union, as I was saying. We tried to have a common policy. When finally the pandemic was there, common policy for vaccines, common policy for communication. No way. Member States did not want. This is national issue, national security in a way like the US would say national security. We don't say that in Europe. And again, we'll see. We have a parallel thoughts on infectious uncertainty with the previous speaker. The world should learn to live now with infectious uncertainty. My God, this is very complicated. How can you explain to the public and to politicians that you specialists, big specialists, university, you don't know? We have to institutionalize coordination mechanisms for prevention, detection and response to all unpredictable sanitary hazards in a joint, unique system. This is what we are going, by the way, to try to get the ministerial endorsement on in April next year. And the management of uncertainty is directly linked to one. Now look at this. This was just at the beginning of H1N1. Maximum median paranoia formula. Nothing had happened with H5N1. H1N1 came. This was a joke. I don't know if you went on the internet, but it was sometimes, in my view, even at the limit of being criminal what was on the internet. The public concern goes parallel to perceived level of securitization. What is new? I repeat it. A pandemic. Epidemics and pandemics of the 21st century can start anywhere, anytime. We have to live again with the infectious risk, and if you listen to epidemiologists, they say that the trend is exponentially increasing, so we will have more and more health events of that same nature. After 4 years of preparation, intense preparation, physicians refuse to report because they say we can't spend all time reporting. As they have them being properly explained the importance of reporting in time of pandemic, and they are good physicians. They hesitate to vaccinate. And finally, 1 week after, they do not hesitate anymore. It was interesting to follow the news. UN asked more than $1 billion to supply vaccine to developing countries. Is that about real vaccination, or is that about communication by WHO? Somebody WHO and dead. And ask the doctor. That was coming all the time. And the doctor was asking me sometimes, where's something wrong? Now, how and why this mess? In a crisis that was carefully planned for. Now, communication. There was a huge problem of communication, and that's not because communication people are incompetent, that's because communication is linked to political issues. Communication is a tool for political issues, and there we have really an interaction which is probably not suitable in time of crisis if we don't have a global government, which we don't have, of course. Plus the scientific dilemma, which can complicate things when you speak to top specialists, many things that they do not know. And then this is a little bit of a joke, but who is infecting who? That's the question of H1N1. And the famous Mexican flu, swine flu, which is not swine flu, I bet it's not swine flu, and so on and so on. And finally, we found a very clear, I would say, labeling for the public. H1N1 pandemic 2009. And the people swallowed that. It's incredible. Who is infecting who? As you know now, we have the transmission. For the moment, the transmission from the human to the pig is of concern to OIE, because in Canada they had problems. So veterinarians are trying to protect pigs. Very interesting. Interface or interfaces? And the terminologies. Mexican flu, novel flu, I forgot, swine flu, and finally pandemic H1N1 2009. Inside the Commission, coming close to the end, inside the Commission, 3 years of coordination efforts, not accepted by the Member States. Communication remains a national issue. Expression of personal opinions at the top level. You may know that, I may be fired for that, but you may know that when the pandemic started, one of our top commissioners, I mean the Commissioner for Health, after 1 or 2 years of discussion in the Council saying that in kind of pandemic, even a highly pathogenic one, travels should in no way be halted or be stopped, but travel should communicate. She was interviewed at the, when coming out from the Council in Luxembourg by the BBC, and she said, well, I recommend to everybody not to travel. That was a big mess, a big mess. She had to withdraw, but it was very complicated, and the BBC was stuck because they insisted. They say, is that really what you mean, Mrs. Commissioner? She said, yes, of course. Then she had to say the day after that she would have said that to her family, but not to her. Okay. Lack of communication in the medical sphere. Role of civil society, and what I quote, that's bad to say that, but the religious groups, you know, those NGOs which believe that vaccination can kill, that and so on, that it is a plot by pharmaceutical companies, and so on and so on. So, was it possible to do that? I tried to reflect a little bit, to give food for thought to the determinants that could have provoked such a communication mess. I use the term mess. Time pressure, information right now. We are in an internet society. We can't wait. Experts must know. Now, know everything. If they say they do not know, it means they hide or they manipulate. This is the theory of the plot. Systems are complex. This is key, I think, for the future. We are in a world of complex systems. Human being does not like complexity, but we will have to go with it in a way or another. Uncertainty is hard to accept and hard to manage politically, and there are new global uncertainties in addition to the classical political ones. It may be a phenomenon, and this is really a question I put, it may be a phenomenon of, I call them advanced democracies, but look at Indonesia and H5N1, for instance. I mean, also in many developing countries, I should not have put democracies, I should have developed, highly developed economies. That's I mean, I prepared this very rapidly tonight, I'm sorry, but Indonesia, of course, is a democracy, no doubt about that. But look at what happened with H5N1, so it's a general phenomenon. We enter into an era of complex risk prevention and management, politicians, scientists, and public. Now, the problem is the time horizon. What does that mean? For a scientist, that's not a problem. A scientist is contributing to a process which will end with the la fin du monde. But a politician is coping with an agenda or a calendar which is ending with the next elections. So there we have a problem. Who should address this and how? I put many questions, I hope not too many. I would like to thank you for your attention.